So there's a lot of religious dogma going on when it comes to the Bible, the Quran, different scriptures or texts that are culturally part of an indoctrination. Just from observing what's going on in 2025 with new elements of devilishment, there's a level of continuity in doing the devil's work in order to get some of the necessities in life that we should be guaranteed. It's so important that you or a preacher, minister, or whoever you claim to be, it's important that you understand and listen very closely of what is really needed. Most of these young people, because that's what's kind of offering the futures of young people, young men in general. First and foremost, what they're looking for is some type of healing or a miracle to happen, right? A lot of times we're dealing with needs. We're dealing with a situation we need to get up out of. Some of us need clarity, right? Some of us understand these principles. And so what is needed is a good brotherhood or a good sisterhood where they could depend on it being there like clockwork. I'm saying, and they need to see the consistency in the language, in the body movement, and the uniformity of each. They need to see the uniformity within the sisterhood, under the body of Christ, or under Allah, whoever it is. They need to see that and have that a level of dependency. So it can give them some type of security, that type of security that they may not have gotten while they're with their father, or lack of mother, or lack of family. So we're talking about a community-based, strong sisterhood, strong brotherhood that is has a level of consistency, like in the cake, when you're baking the cake. And sometimes there's levels of the cake that you didn't mix up and didn't cook properly. I'm saying you want a level of consistency within that body politic when it comes to dealing with spiritual warfare or your church, your mosque, synagogue, whatever it may be. They need that continuity and they need that dependency. They need for the sister and the brotherhood to be consistent all around the board, because they're gonna look, they're not gonna believe. And so now you got some that's looking for a miracle. Feel me? You got some that's looking for a miracle, and I think you got some that's looking for a miracle. They're looking for, a healing. They're looking for to change the situation. Is definitely the situation I'm in right now, right? And sometimes we're looking at these situations as trials in order to build character and things that matter. And sometimes we need the divine force to come through. We need that divine force to come through. So those are two things that I would suggest, into 2025, because you don't necessarily have the map or the terrain of what's going on as of right now. I'm saying you may not have the map or the terrain that's going on in your neighborhood because you're so deep into the scriptures and whatnot. I'm saying you're deep into the scriptures and you're deep into building this institution and whatnot, but things have changed from the 80s to the 90s to 2000 to 2025, and there's a level of spiritual heightenance that you have to deal with also. So yeah, there needs to be a level of consistency around the board, and you need to fortify those institutions. And one way you do that is tie those rules together and having some type of structure. If you do this, if you do that, then there's a level of accountability in it, because growing up, they may see the level of inconsistency within those who claim to be a part of that, religious dogma. So when they see the real thing, and when they enroll into the real thing, there's going to be different type of phases, to the point where first, I'm skeptical. When we try this out, they're going to have something that's receptive. They're going to be 100% receptive to everything that you guys do. And so it's important to have that continuity and be certified. So that's what it is. That's just and when you're dealing with, and when you're dealing with young men, you can't always big homie the young ones. You feel me? You can't always big homie the young ones. What you have to do is sometimes you have to get under them. And what I mean by under them, pause. What I mean by under is sometimes you have to find a way where scratch the surface, or scratch the ego, or scratch this level of that guard that they have up. So sometimes you have to have a loving nature without the homoerotic touch to it. You feel me? So you got to know how to love from a mother's perspective, but still have the masculinity, the strong heterosexual masculinity with it, the patience. Sometimes the patience, and can always be stern, because sometimes you'll chase them off. So that big homie, if you want to reach those young ones, can't just always come with that. Now, there's some people that you could stand. There's some young ones that you could stand in their presence and automatically understand, okay, this is an adult, and they still have some of that home training in them. But for the wild ones and whatnot, I wouldn't say the wild ones, but for the undomesticated Jones, the undomesticated ones, you're gonna have to approach it at a different level. And sometimes if you show a tremendous amount of strength, right? They'll be attracted to that tremendous amount of strength, and a person that can fight and things, they're attracted to that. But you have to make sure you have the intelligence and the wisdom behind it. You feel me? If not, you gotta show the person has to co-sign in a different way. You have to shoot into a direction and say, hey, he's the one that you need to be listening to right now. So that's how you have to if you're working on stewardship and you're looking to be in the light and whatnot, those are some of the things that you have to take into consideration.